It got a little real.
It's the greatest line I've ever heard. I was sitting there with Iron. He throws down the book and said, what's this all about? I got up and punched him in the mouth. He no-sold it. And it was over.
Yeah, I may have no-sold it physically. Emotionally, it hurt.
Yeah, but if you're a guy throwing it, I don't feel the emotion.
Exclusive, Rick. When your book came out, and you and I had been getting along, really good. We did the evolution thing, and I didn't realize that, the receipt,
Sure.
the receipt was necessary. And
it probably wasn't, but they weren't. That was after my airplane incident, and they wouldn't let me get out or anything else. So I said I can at least give Mick a shot,
Yeah, I know.
Sorry. I said worse about Diamond Dallas Page.
WWE probably should have pulled us aside before any of that stuff, but I was like, I gotta address this somehow.
Well,
I've never been a bully in my life, but honestly, in Huntsville, I went up. And I guess the intention was to make Rick look bad, in front of the boys.
So you're in catering when this happened?
He went to shake my hand. I wouldn't shake his hand, and I said, "You want to sign this book for me?" And I had envisioned a lot of scenarios. And never once did I envision Rick getting up and punching me. That was never even entered my mind. And to this day, this is another thing. Rhino is the only guy who knows this. So until now, and Rhino has never called me on it either. But when they were pulling us apart, Rhino was the main guy holding me back. Let me just say, he didn't have to work very hard to hold me back because I wasn't actually trying to make forward progress. Rick's anger, it caught me off guard. Really, I never saw that coming, and I was like, what have I gotten myself into? So it was an unfortunate thing, but I said it was almost before that. We had this, this big boil, and we were trying to put a Band-Aid on it. And instead of, pretending it wasn't there, in that one day in Huntsville, we kind of lanced it and got all the bad stuff out. And,
what started it all for me is, I swear, everywhere I went for about 3 years, people would say, "Did you read what Foley said about you?" And I said, "No, I never read his book. I haven't read a book since I was."
You didn't even read your own book.
I didn't even read my own book. Thank you. I barely look at my DVDs. I was there. What's there to look at, right?
Right.
So, he buried you, right? He said you were a great worker, but a terrible booker. And I have always it's hard to explain this, but I was at best trying to survive.
I understand that.
And I was never really in charge. You know what I mean? If I was in charge of the booking, right? Why would I do five deals in a row for Hulk and 5 for Randy in a row, back to back?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then 1 for Vader. everybody. I was just getting beat, And if I was the head of the booking committee, I don't think I'd volunteer myself to retire and get told I'm off for a year to go back in a cage match after getting beat twice with Hulk, right?
Right.
It made no sense. But was I in the booking committee? Yeah, just probably to making sure I still had a job. Because I was just, I didn't have that power. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the same applied when Jim Herd was there, I don't think anybody in the world would ever think that I would come up with a team called the Dingalings if I was the booker. Is that safe to assume? Is that safe to assume that I wouldn't come up with the Dingalings? Holy cow.
Rick, this is what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to edit that book and cut out any of the things where I mentioned the booking, and it will, because there's a lot of nice stuff in there too. There really is.
No, I know that's what people said, but I just was so offended that anybody to this day that anybody thinks that I was booking. I had just surviving.
You personally had
you know what? My apologies for that, and I did mention.
No, Mick, please. I'm just making a joke.
The only 2 times that you and I had words, actual heated words when you were, in 1990 when I came on board, you went out of your way on both those occasions to come back and say, look, this is why I said this. Don't take it personally. And I don't know if anyone I've ever worked for has ever done that, come back and explained why they were hot and kind of apologized for getting hot. So, but it's kind of lent to like it's kind of become legendary in status. And we have a mutual friend, Sean, the announcer Sean Grande in Boston, one of the announcers.
Oh, is he one of your buddies with Big Time Wrestling?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he loves you. I didn't realize you guys were friends. He's a good kid, boy.
Yeah, and he called. I was eating with him in Boston when you called. This is like before our match at SummerSlam in 2006. And he's just watching. I can see his face because when you and I talk, there's a lot, mutual, not only respect, but we like each other, right? Like, I don't think that's what people get, is that we do like each other. And like, I'm just looking at his face when I hung up. He's like, I thought you guys hated each other. And it's like, it's become such a part of wrestling lore that when people see us together and laughing, they're always caught off guard. But as far as I'm concerned, we got our problems, but they're in the past.
Yeah, but if you look at it for what it is, you really can't. I mean, if you look at it, Mick, and I tell people this, I know I repeat myself by saying this, but in this business, if you can end up at the end of the day having 10, 12, 15 friends, it's a miracle. Because the business and the way the business is not run, but the way it creates ill will between people. I mean, the thing with like John Cena and The Rock, I still don't get that, but there's certainly a level of ill will over what I don't even know what caused it, but I've heard that something the Cena said at an interview when they were working a couple of years ago. You know what I'm talking about, Mick?
Yeah. Oh, about the writing of the notes and
or something like that. Yeah, I mean, and that caused some ill will, and then different stuff. And we had Brett on the show, and Brett's mad at Hulk for stuff, but at the end of the day, life's too short. What are you going to do? I mean, we can't change it. We're all healthy, I had a life-changing experience in my life, which I never saw coming. And, man, I mean, from that day forth, I felt sorry for myself for about a year. And then I said, you know what? I got 3 other ones that are dependent on me every day. You know what I mean? So I have to get my shit together. And, it's kind of like Brett. I mean, I didn't bring this up to Brett, but I'm sure that, losing Owen took a wind out of his sail too. Sure. I mean, it's a big deal when you lose somebody you're close to. It's unexpected. Does that make sense? I mean,
it does. And it says, I think we're about to run out of time. If you don't mind, Rick, I'll end up with a story, and I've written about it once, but it was one of the things I'll remember most about you is when we were kind of stuck with each other on a 14-hour flight, to the Philippines.
Oh yeah,
and even like guys, like Cena and Hunter are going, you guys want to switch seats? And we're like, no, we're gonna be okay. I was like, I don't know how am I gonna last 14 hours